watch some stuff about the Ukraine situation since there's a report that the Russian forces are moving into defined attack positions, which is kind of scary. But now I'm here.
Nice. Hang on, I'm gonna actually update the title and everything. Yeah, no. So real quick, just to get you up to speed, we were talking about how Freems is having a huge panel on Thursday night, which then got us talking about the rage poop, which then got us back into the conversation of how the rage poop happened. And of course, because I rage pooped, I missed like the next 4 minutes that happened afterwards. So I just got to see it for the first time, and it was a hoot in addition to being a rage poop. But it got me to thinking about the original conversation and how we it was sort of left in a place where I think we both had a different opinion. And now that the primaries are coming, like I think discussing, the Democratic Party and how people are going to vote and how people are supposed to try to effectively move the party, like it's a relevant conversation again, because this is like the 6 months every 2 years where the Democratic Party acts like they care.
Yeah.
So
Well, okay. So when we talk about the Democratic Party actually caring, I think that in general the individual politicians definitely do care, but the party as a whole worries more about getting elected, which is kind of what their function is, being a political party. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. So
yeah, so my thought was, and now I remember how this conversation happened. We were originally talking about uh Rhizome, I think, had asked me because he didn't know. He was like, what's the difference between, the radical idea? What's the, how do you actually make change happen? And, basically the two schools of thought are you take decades, if not centuries, to try to slowly build up a squad of people that will take on the party from within the party. Or number two, as a mass movement, people, we voters, we essentially tell the Democratic Party that we're going to withhold our vote until they, run and back policies that the people actually want, which as a voter, literally the only leverage you have is either, casting or withholding your ballot. And I seem to believe that you and maybe a couple other people thought that was a very radical suggestion. And then a few minutes later, when Freems asked you, like, oh, hey, if there's a third party candidate who is running on a platform you like better than the Dems, would you vote for him? And you were like, yeah, I would.
The specific, but you have to pay attention to the specific wording I used. I said if there was another option, then yes, but I don't see there being another option besides the Democrats or the Republicans until we get rid of first past the post, right? And when we get rid of first past the post, when we get rid of things like the kind of voting that we do now instead of ranked choice voting, something like that would be really based. But we don't have that yet, and the only party that's willing to even go in that direction, it seems right now, is going to be the Democratic Party, the more progressive people that we vote in there. And so it seems like the only way to kind of move forward right now is to say, well, if you want to enact change, then what you have to do is you have to get these people elected so that they can change the rules so that we can actually have those third parties.
All right. So do you understand at least where I'm coming from, where I say that because the Democrats know that there are only two parties and that, they literally have, a quarter of the country are their sycophants who will just walk around and repeat on autopilot. If you don't vote for the Democrat, you're voting for the Nazi. And like the Democrats are aware of this. So it's gotten to the point where there is literally no onus upon the Democratic Party, especially Democratic Party leadership, to change the direction the party's in, when all they're doing is saying, if you don't vote for us, you vote for the Nazi. And it seems to be an effective enough campaign when you only have two parties.
Like presupposes that they have like a defined like platform that they're never going to change from, when we can already see that they have changed their platform in the past, right? Even in the recent past.
Well, they will change that. Now, I'm not going to say, I'm going to be fair here and say that politically speaking, no, the Democrats don't effectively do zero. Like, for example, they got the infrastructure bill passed, which of course they did because every senator and congressional rep loves a free pot of money that their state can just, go in there two-fisted like fucking Pooh Bear on a honey pot. So,
yeah, but that's fine,
they got
though.
that passed.
But that's a good thing. We've been wanting an infrastructure bill for like, what, decades now?
Well, we've been wanting federal infrastructure. The federal government is basically just going to take $1 trillion, put it in a pot, let every state, county, city, and organization, apply for grants. And then once the state gets the money, majoritarily speaking, they can spend it however they want to, as long as X number of percentage is technically spent on quote roads.
Well, right, but that's the way it's always kind of been, right?
I know,
The way our government is set up is that the states have the authority to like build shit within their borders, right? We can't just like walk in and unilaterally tell them like, oh no, what you're actually spending this on is all the stuff that we want you to build. Or we can't, like, the federal government can't walk in and build those things by themselves, right?
Great. No, I understand. I just think that the looseness that goes into this, and again, keep in mind my wife runs a state health organization. So I literally sit around and watch her do like federal grant applications all the time. Like, I'm boggled that most Americans don't know that the overwhelming majority of money that their state spends on state stuff is all federal grant dollars, whether it's, Department of Health, Department of Energy, Department of Transportation. Like, there's only like 5 states that are cash flow positive. Like, the other 45 states literally subsist on federal grant dollars. So like, I get how it goes. But again, this is one of those where the devil is in the details thing. And again, there's no onus for government to change the machine itself, because they're the only two parties, and you vote for us or you're voting for the Nazi. And therein is
okay, but like that's not okay. We have to
me.
Okay, so it's not always that, but you always want to have people in power that are going to be more aligned with your values, right? You would never want to vote for someone that is not aligned with your values. But at the same time, if that person has no chance of winning, then you would want to vote for the next most likely person to like actually get into office that would enact your values in the world, right? Or at least as many of them as they agree with.
Right. So could you see, like, let's say somebody like me who's a quote leftist, not like a Democrat, could you see how somebody like me would look at the proposals the Democratic Party was putting out on their presidential ballot, what the Republicans were putting out, and me going, there isn't anything, like, I could not support either of these candidates because
Sure. Which one did Biden put
like,
out that you think that was not good? Because when I looked at his, okay, let me like pull back the veil a little bit on me. All right. I used to be very, very socialistic. Okay. I used to like argue for democratic socialism or market socialism all the time. Like, I understand where you're coming from, but the reality of the world that we live in isn't that clear cut. You can't just like say like, okay, well, because the Democratic Party aren't socialists or aren't near socialists, I'm not going to vote for them, right? Because that just like kneecaps the ability for us to enact any kind of forward progress in this country whatsoever.
Well, I don't consider, again, like, I think the infrastructure bill is great. I don't consider it progress. I consider it overdue maintenance that a whole bunch of self-serving politicians agreed to because there's a free big pot of money they get to dip in. I don't look at that and go, oh, look, Biden scored a huge win for the progressive left. No. I'm saying that again, my issue is with the larger overall system and the fact that there is no onus on the party and the leadership to change the way the system is run because it benefits them. Ergo, the only way you can change the system is to either blow it up or withdraw from it to the point where it has far less value. Has always been my contention.
Can you expand on that? I don't understand.
Okay, if you are the Democratic Party, let's say you're the Democratic Party leadership, okay? You're the people who control the majority of the funding and the fundraising. You're some of the people who get to, you have a large voice in policy, okay? And let's say you're Nancy Pelosi, you're Hillary Clinton, you're, Barack Obama, it doesn't matter. You're a quote third way neoliberal Democrat. And as such, as a person and a group of people, your priority is to get as much policy passed or unchanged as possible so that it benefits you and the small amount of people who are going to make a shit ton of money by passing those policies. And my issue is the fact that there is no way to change what they're doing because there's no onus on them to change, because there's no pressure on them to change other than having to win an election every 4 to 6 years when you're the one who controls where all the money in the party goes. Like,
Okay,
it's a massive
not
machine.
not necessarily true. Okay, so first off, when we talk about the leadership of the Democratic Party, these people are held to account by the voters in their districts. If they don't like those people, then they're going to vote for someone else. My answer to this, right, is to have people that are more progressive go out and explain to people why the progressive policies are better. It would be to get more progressive people elected into Congress so that they have a stronger voice. Because if the old neoliberal, the old guard, right, are voted out, then the progressives are going to be the ones that take power and move the party in that way. That's going to be more likely to give us those third party options. If they make it to where we have, they get rid of first past the post and they get rid of the way that we do elections now and institute ranked choice voting, which would enable people to have more choice in their with their votes. So I'm not understanding why you're saying that they have like this ultimate power and they can't be unseated when they absolutely can be unseated.
How do you, okay, how do you, okay, number one, and again, I'm talking about people who are, now people who are out of office, such as Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, like people like this, they have a lot of sway, even though they're not in the party, because they control the majority of the external fundraising apparatus. If you remember, Barack Obama built this great, like, hope and change email list that everybody got on. And then the second Obama left, he had an email list of 65 million registered Democrat voters, and that was proceeded to, you know, for the last 12 years, use that to raise hundreds of millions of dollars, and then he gets to choose where that money goes. So these are the people who have the most power, but I'll throw people in power just for the sake of the argument. Like, let's say you take a Nancy Pelosi. Okay, Nancy Pelosi essentially runs unopposed. Who ran against her? Shahid Buttar last time. Like, she's safely ensconced in a plus 36 blue district where she has her and her husband, the real estate mogul, have hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate deals with all the tech people that live in her district.
Okay,
i.e.
but the
there
money
is no chance of voting her out.
The money is important. The money is important, but it's not the end all be all. Just because you outspend your opponent doesn't mean that you're going to win. Look at Nina Turner. Nina Turner lost the election despite having more money that was fundraised and spent.
Yeah, but Chantel Brown got fucking enormous money from the fucking Dems.
But
plus she got
money was less than what Nina Turner had. If we're going to talk about money having an undue impact here, then you're going to have to make the argument that more money equals a victory. But that's not the case, since Nina Turner fundraised more and spent more and still lost.
Yo, 5 months.
And hold on, let's see. Turner brought in 2.3 million, making a total of 4.5 million for the entire campaign. Brown raised 2.1 and 1.4, so it was 3.5. Plus, there was over $400 million in, quote, dark money ad buys during the campaign that shit all over Nina Turner. Hey, you know who's putting money into
Okay,
PACs?
so are we going to talk
money?
about... Oh, wait, hold on. One thing at a time. Is it about money that the individuals are fundraising and getting money from the DNC? Or are we going to be talking about, like, not Glass-Steagall, that's something else. Like other people making political ads for candidates?
Well, no, I'm saying either way that you can't say money and then not include dark PAC money.
Well, we're talking about like one subject at a time, right?
Okay, so
we can bring that in later.
Wait. So we're going to talk about one subject at a time. Then we have to go back to the very beginning, and you keep moving away from this, and there's no way to move away from this. Okay. Which is my argument. There is no onus upon the people in power and the people who control the direction of the party and the majority of the funding to change how they operate the machine at all, because people, the totality of the 330 million people who live in America, have very little individual or collective power to change them and to change the direction of the party. Because again, somebody like Nancy Pelosi, you're not going to get rid of her. She's in a safe district. You're not going to get rid of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton raising hundreds of millions of dollars a year in PAC money because they're not answerable to anybody, because they're not even elected officials.
You can unseat Nancy Pelosi. You can unseat Nancy Pelosi.
No, you can't. You really can't. What do you mean, why? Because she's in a fucking plus 36
Because
district and she has
because
relations
there are
with
people
everybody
that
in her district.
don't have those progressive values. So you have to get people to have those progressive values by going out and fucking talking to people and getting people who are progressives to go out and campaign and talk to people in those communities and get those fucking votes.
You can't,
That's how you.
you can't,
That's
you,
literally the only way that you can do this. You realize
right, this
that,
is
right?
my point. Okay, and you're making my point for me, which is this is the only way you can do this, and the system knows this, which is why the system is built this way, to make it next year to impossible. You're literally advocating for a system that says if you want to change the way we're operating the system, you have to grind. You have to like
Yes!
no, it shouldn't, dude. You should not
Unless
have to
you're
try
advocating
to go,
for a fucking violent revolution right now, which, like,
dude,
if that's what you're doing, then let's storm the fucking
no,
Bastille together, brother. But, like, I don't think
I
that's where
didn't,
we're at right now,
I didn't
right?
say that. I didn't say that. My point is, you can't even go and try to get Nancy Pelosi unseated by going door to door and talking to people in her district, because everybody in her district lives in a gated community with an armed security guard. And also, her district is specifically drawn that way because she's been in power long enough that the congressional maps have been redrawn to ensure that the entirety of her district is white people who are worth $7 million or more. Literally.
She's from San Francisco or something like that, right?
Yes, she's in the fucking tech corridor, and go look at what her congressional district map looks like.
Okay, so those people shouldn't be able to choose their own. Those people shouldn't be able to choose their own representative.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this again. You're making my point for me, because Nancy Pelosi, while her ability to drive policy throughout the entire party affects everybody, the only people
power is derived,
who actually
yes,
right, but the
I agree
only
with
people
you. Her power though is derived from the fact that she has the majority opinion and has been in Congress for a very long time. She has the majority opinion of the Democratic Party, and so more people support her, which is why we would want to have more people that are progressives voted in from all over the place. Not just we don't have to unseat Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer. We can just overwhelm them with more progressives from all over the fucking place, right? If they get a say in who gets to be the head of the house, the fucking holy shit, the word is escaping me. What's her position? House.
She's the majority leader.
Majority. Thank you. Fuck me. So if we have more people that are there that can vote to have a progressive be the majority leader in the House of Representatives, then we're going to have more progressive policy be pushed through all the fucking time. Because guess what? We wouldn't have to fucking negotiate with the neolibs to bring those things to the House floor.
Right. And your answer is we're going to take on the Democrats by taking Democratic seats one at a time through the Democratic Party system that controls Democratic Party funding and Democratic Party votes.
We've already succeeded in this.
No. You get 1 to 2 token people who are, quote, and I'm making air quotes, progressive per election. That's literally what you're averaging. Look at the last 20 years. You're literally averaging 1 per election, which means at this rate, assuming none of them die, you will have a viable block of votes that won't be able to control, but at least can take some things off the table in approximately another 68 years.
Okay, you're assuming that this is that. Okay, have you ever heard?
I'm assuming that they will continue to only.
Have you ever heard of like the problem that the Science journal had in the 90s or the 80s, where they looked at the then current trends of marathon runners for both men and women's, and they said, looking at these trends, women are really, really gaining, and they're going to like pass men's marathon times by the year 1997 or some shit like that, right? But then when we got to the year 1997, that never happened because it sloped and then it capped off. This is the concept that I'm trying to explain here, is that the current trends do not extrapolate to future trends, right? We've had a progressive movement in this country, right? I think it's largely died as a result of people jumping off of electoralism, right, and advocating for like voting for third parties that has been a fucking detriment to our fucking cause. But just because we have one person being elected into office every year doesn't mean that's going to be the trend going forward, right? What we would want to do is we would want to increase the amount of people that are voted in every single year. Just because it's one person per election cycle now doesn't mean that that's going to be the way that it is going forward, right?
Did you see how many candidates Justice Democrats are backing? Did you see the initial list?
How many?
It was 20 something like that. So they're only going to back 20 something out of, let's see, there's 465, 35. So between gubernatorial, House, and the Senate, there's 506 seats up.
Yeah. Oh, 6 seats up this next election.
506 seats up for grabs in the midterms.
Okay.
Justice Democrats are backing a total of like 22 or 24 candidates.
Because they have a limited budget and they want to give the money to the people that are most likely to win. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that having an additional 20 is not going to be an exceptional fucking voting block in the House of Representatives?
But they're not going to get the 20 in. They've done this. They do this a lot. How many did they get in the last election? 2? 3? In the last election out of their entire list?
So
this is my point.
Okay, no, James, let me tell you what you're doing, okay? You're looking at these 20 people and you're saying, man, not all 20 of these people are going to go in. So you people out there, we should withhold our votes or vote for a Green Party. And then it's going to make it even less likely that those 20 to 24 people are going to be elected into the House of Representatives.
Well, no, because
absolutely
speaking,
yes, because if you're advocating for them to withhold their votes, which you say is the only thing that we can do, which I heavily disagree with. If that is our only thing that we can do to show them who's boss, who actually holds the votes, well, guess what? The fucking mainline Dems are just going to get elected again. They're not going to be unseated.
Anyway. They're going to
not
anyway.
if we get more votes.
But you don't.
Why?
That's my point.
Why?
I don't know, because Democrats don't come out to the ballot box. Why? Because
how do you fix that? Hold on, one thing at a time. How do you fix that?
By making the system less shitty so that people feel like their vote matters.
Or you could go
that's
out.
It. You asked for the answer. I gave it to you.
Do you think that if we had outreach that like went around to people and told them this is when election day is, here, I'm going to help you sign up to be to register to vote. We're going to go in a big party. We're going to like all go at the same time. This is how
they do that already. They do that already. Dude,
the Democratic Party does. We need more people that are progressives to go out and do that. Yes. To explain to them, these are the people that you should vote for.
They do that. They make lists all the time.
They do that, right? But what the fundamental thing that we're going to disagree here on is that you say the only way that we can affect change is to withhold our votes or to vote third party to show them who's boss, right?
But that inherently,
if you withhold your vote, you're voting for whoever wins, whether it is a Republican or a mainstream Democrat or a progressive. If you withhold your vote, then you're voting for whoever wins. And if that vote would have gone to the progressive person, right, then those people that withheld their vote are voting for the not progressive person.
Right. So you just summed up. You just literally said the Democrat tagline. You literally, in more words.
No, I'm giving. Yes, I understand.
You literally just said if you don't vote for the Democrat, you're voting for the Nazi. Okay. You literally just said it.
Because if you
said the mainline Democratic Party line, you literally said.
Tell me where that's wrong. Tell me where it's wrong.
Because again, this is the entire argument.
No, I want you to tell me where it's wrong.
What do you mean where it's wrong? If you don't vote for the Democrat, you're voting for the Nazi? How is that wrong?
No, I'm saying, given all the additional qualifiers that I just laid out, all the different things that I would say that we need to do, tell me where that is wrong, how that is not the path that we would have to take now.
I think those are all great things. I think people should totally go out and back candidates. I totally think people should
vote for the Democrats or you're voting for the Nazi is correct, is what you just said.
No, I said that's what you're saying.
Yes, and then I said, what is wrong with that statement? And you said, no, those are all things that we should be doing. Yes, those are things are good things.
Yeah, we should be warning people. No, I agree that people should be more involved in politics. I definitely think at the local and county level, The onus is on people to literally have to go out, because this is why you have school boards that are flipping and now taking books out. Right. But listen, but again, we're talking about the Democratic Party. You're talking about Democratic voters. They're two entirely different things. There are three different bodies when you're talking about politics and the Democrats. You're talking about A, Democratic Party leadership.
Sure.
It's its own group. B, Democratic elected politicians. That's its own group. C, Democratic voters, they're their own group. All three of those
I agree with you.
are different.
Sure. Really quick. So you
can't
say
conflate
all three. Yes, I agree. Okay, but two of those things, it's like a fucking hierarchy, right? They each derive power from the one that's below them. At the baseline, the power is with the voters. They vote in people that they want. If we want people that are more progressive to get elected in a democracy, we have to have more people go out and vote for the progressive candidates than don't vote for the progressive candidates. If your answer to there aren't enough progressives in Congress for us to affect change, right? The only answer in a democracy is to vote for progressives.
All right. Let me ask you a question. What are the top two reasons that people don't go vote?
It's probably has to do with work and distance.
One is work, or they can't they can't fit it into their day because of the one day. I don't disagree. And number two is voter disenfranchisement. Do you know why voters are disenfranchised?
Well, I would say like disenfranchisement would include like the distance, but I understand what you're saying. They feel like nothing is going to change, but that's why you have to go out there and you have to convince people that you're going to help change things. Otherwise, again, if you're just withholding votes, then you're advocating for the status quo. Because if these people if these people aren't voting already, and you're saying, well, the answer here is to withhold our votes, then you're arguing for the status quo.
No, I'm arguing that if you go en masse before you get to the point of an election, before you get to election day, because election day is fucking pointless. So I'm talking about you basically organize the same way you would want to say, hey, we need to organize people to go knock on doors. We need to organize people to go do progressive messaging. These are all things you agree with, and these are all things you understand have to start taking place long before an election happens, correct?
I mean, sure, it should be an ongoing process.
Yes? Yeah. Okay. So my theory here, my idea here, such as you will, is that rather than spending all that time organizing people to go try to get people elected as Democrats so they can make the Democratic Party not be as shitty by, voting Democrat, is to organize people to literally go to the Democratic Party leadership before the campaign even starts and say, hey, I got a list of names here. It's 5 million, it's 10 million, it's 20 million. It doesn't matter however many it is. I have this many number of people. All of these people are registered Democrats. This is literally a list of demands. If these demands are not met, we will not vote for you.
What? Yeah. Wait, hold on. What if we do this during the primaries? These are a list of the fucking progressive voters. We go up to them and we say, if you don't align your policies here, we're not going to vote for you. We're going to vote for the progressive.
Yeah, but once you get past the primary phase, then the Democrats own you, because it's you either vote for us or you vote for the Nazis.
After that, you would want, and this is what I said at the beginning, right? Where I said that my statement about the voting for a third party isn't inherently against my point, where I said, if there's another option, but there is no other option between a mainline Democrat and a Republican. I would take a mainline Democrat literally every single day of the week over a fucking Republican, because, I actually care about politics and I actually care about the policy that gets passed. And if we lose the House of Representatives, if we lose the Senate, then guess what? People that don't look like me, not white dudes who get to stay on their fucking computer all day and play video games, but people who are black, brown, fucking gay people, trans people, their lives get impacted so much worse than anything that could possibly fucking happen to me. So I'm going to choose the route of less destruction and then advocate harder the next time. Right? But to say that we should just give up and just say, okay, well, let's do this fucking accelerationist.
I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up.
Yes, like withholding your vote is giving up because
that's electoralism. That's politics. You have to earn a vote. every politician on the face of the planet who runs a political campaign goes out into the public and to say, this is what I'm doing. I want to earn your vote. Votes are earned. They're not given because you belong to a team with a blue jersey or a red jersey. That's not politics.
Let me ask you this. Okay, let's say that you're presented this option, right? The progressive lost in the primaries, right? It was a close call, right?
Okay.
It was fucking 51-49, and the progressive barely lost to the mainline Democrat.
Okay.
They're going up against the most fucking, like, they're like Nick Fuentes running for Senate.
Right.
Right.
You're going to pick the most extreme example to prove a point. I get where you're going.
Yes. Okay.
Go ahead.
Do you say, okay, well, if you're not going to concede to our policy demands, yes, your policies are like largely in line with ours, but there's some more things that we want you to do. If you don't align with these policy demands, I'm not going to vote for you. All right?
I'm going to do what you're supposed to do in every democratic electoral system, which is once a candidate goes through the primary and earns a party vote, members of that party then go to that person and say, okay, Skippy, earn my vote. Because that's what electoralism is.
Okay, so you would withhold your vote, rather.
Earning the vote.
Okay,
earn my vote. Tell me what you're going to do.
Okay, so you withhold your vote, and now there's a Republican majority. This guy is like fucking Nick Fuentes level fucking bad, and they start passing policy that like fuck over black people, they fuck over trans people, they fuck over gay people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. How do you explain to those voters to those people that you fucked over because you led this mass campaign to not vote for the mainline Democrat for damage control, right? How do you explain to those voters that you actually do have their best interest in mind?
To explain that I don't want to participate in the constant ratcheting.
Yeah, tell me how when they roll back EVT, tell me when they roll back all of the social safety nets, when they get rid of Social Security, et cetera, when they get rid of those things, how do you walk up to those voters after you allowed that person to walk into office because you led this mass campaign?
I have an answer.
Tell me how you let them know that you actually care about their well-being.
Okay, I'm gonna say to them the exact same things that Biden and Clinton and Obama said to them when they named them all super predators and then aggressively created and promoted Democratic policy to criminalize being black and living in a bad neighborhood and passing things like stop and frisk and 3-strike laws and min-max sentencing. So you tell me,
you're going to call them super predators?
No, I didn't finish. Let me finish.
I don't understand this isn't an answer.
No, here's my answer.
Just tell me, yeah.
I already said, I am going to say to those voters the same thing that Clinton, Obama, and Biden said to all of them after they legislatively fucked them.
Yeah, and what was that? Tell me.
I don't know what it was, but I'm going to go look it up and just repeat what they said, because if it's good enough for the Democrats to do, then it's good enough for me to do, because the Democrats are the ones who have power. You're literally saying, you're literally telling me.
So wait, hold on. I just let you talk. I just want to respond real quick. Okay. You're telling me that when they lose all the protections that we have in place because of a mass campaign that you organized, right? You're going to walk up and tell them that, well, the Democrats also have done bad things.
No, I didn't say that. Is that what I said?
I don't know what the fuck you're saying. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck you're saying.
I said I will go look up whatever it is that Biden.
So you don't have an answer
Clinton.
for me. You're going to base it's all
I'll look it up right now. Hold on.
You hate Obama. I understand. You hate Obama and Biden and Clinton so much that you're willing to throw black bodies under the bus for your fucking political goals.
Not at all.
That's what it sounds like to me.
No, you're also making it sound like I'm some white guy and I'm going to go out and just go attract white people and only talk to white people to start a white voter movement. That's literally the underpinning of your entire argument against what I'm saying, which is pretty fucking hideous.
I'm saying that you kept a whole bunch of people from voting because you were telling them that was the best option. And then to all the people affected, you're going to go and tell them that the Democrats are worse. That's literally what you're saying.
I'm looking up exactly what it is that Clinton said, and that's what I'm going to say.
Sure.
Hold on. You're asking me what I would say. I'm going to say exactly what Clinton said when Clinton passed the law that essentially criminalized being black and living in a low-income
Wait, are
neighborhood.
you talking about the
If you
fucking
remember
94
that.
crime bill?
Oh, I'm talking about continuations to it all along the line. I'm talking about
Bro,
fucking
holy fuck. Don't fucking pull this out. You're too smart for
no,
this. You've read too
no, hold
much
on.
shit. You're too smart to fucking argue the 94 crime bill thing.
I'm not arguing the crime bill.
Or what
You
is it
asked
that
me what I
Clinton
would
did?
say. You
That
asked me what I
criminalized.
would say.
Yeah,
because the
yes.
entire, no, no,
But you're saying that he criminalized being black. What are you talking about? If not the 94
the
crime bill.
entire right. Okay, so the entire premise of your conversation is that if you don't vote for the Democrat, then a Nazi is going to win and pass a whole bunch of laws that
I'm
criminalize
asking
being
an
black.
extreme example to see what
Right,
your
and
answer would
and
be.
I'm
And you're not
right, and
giving
I'm
me an
answering.
answer. And you're talking about the
you're
94 crime bill when that was
right,
something
you're
that even the most marginalized communities in the country supported at that time. It was
I know.
supported and
So
helped drafted by the
I
Congressional
know.
Black Caucus. So
I know.
to bring
I
that
hear what
up
you're saying.
as some sort of like criminalizing being black is unbelievably obtuse.
Hold on. No.
So
I'm
tell
not
me
being
what.
obtuse.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Again,
I
the
just want an
premise
answer.
of
then.
your argument, the premise of your extreme hypothetical is that if you don't vote for the Democrat, a Nazi gets in office and passes a whole bunch of shit that criminalizes black people, right? That's the extreme example you're giving, correct? That's the extreme hypothetical you want me to comment on.
Sure.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to answer your hypothetical with an actual fucking reality thing instead.
I've been waiting for it.
Okay, and I'm looking for it right now. I'm looking to see what her entire quote was. Hold on. Okay, here's going to be my
also,
answer.
really. Oh yeah.
Here's
Go
my
ahead,
answer.
Go ahead.
My answer is going to be officially, quote, my life's work has been about lifting up children and young black people who've been let down by the system or society, kids who never got the chance they deserved. And unfortunately today, there are way too many of those kids, especially in African-American communities. We haven't done right by them. We need to end the school to prison pipeline and replace it with a cradle to college pipeline. That's going to be my official statement.
Hey, you know what? That's fucking based. And you know what? The part of the 94 crime bill, I watched that. I had a debate fucking like 3 weeks ago with a person that is just as brain dead on this topic as you. He
I'm
said
not brain
this
dead on it.
on this topic right here. Yes, you are. I think that you're a cool dude, but you are so fucking far outside of this. Like so far out of reality. Because number one, the part of the crime bill, the part of the crime bill that Biden drafted, right, was the defense against or the violence against women act.
We're not talking about the crime bill. We're talking about what I would say in your hypothetical.
Yes, because you're citing the 94 crime bill as some sort of horrible fucking thing that Biden did to black people.
No,
when it was black people that drafted. Yes, that's what you're talking about. If you you're lying.
Response. You asked me what my response is. That's
you're
all you
lying
asked me.
to me.
You asked me what my response would be. To which I said, what would my response be to black people that I quote just fucked over by leading a movement to get a Nazi elected?
I love both parts of this because number one, you're lying to me that you weren't referencing the 94 crime bill, and number two, you're saying that you're going to do exactly the same thing as Joe Biden did, where he passed in your mind an incredibly racist bill and then say, "Oh, well, too bad, so sad." That's what you're telling me that you would do. Why is this your answer? You know what I would say in your position if I was to steel man your position? If I was actually going to steel man your position, this is the only thing that you could walk up to the people that you have fucked over by telling people not to vote, okay? This is what you would have to say. Hey, listen, this is really fucked. What we have to do now that we see what the worst extremes are, right? And we know that the middle of the road approach isn't going to cut it anymore. We have to go more progressive. That is the only acceptable answer that you could possibly tell people in the position that you're in. Right. But if you're going to tell them, the exact same thing and you're going to do the exact same like Biden line in your mind, right?
Yeah,
you're basically just going to be another Biden where you allow bad shit to happen and then say, oh, it's too bad, so sad.
Right. So your thing is, if you vote for the Democrat, you're reducing harm. To which my answer is, I'm going to give you the exact quote as my answer to why I did it, as the Democrats did.
But the exact quote that you're bringing is from something that they didn't know what the effects were going to be. They didn't criminalize being black, okay? Because the people that drafted the bill were also black. The people that drafted that bill were from the communities. It had a majority support from black communities. Now, if you want to speak over black people and just tell them that they're too fucking stupid to write their own fucking legislation, that's on you, buddy. But for me, I like to listen to the polities of the actual country that I live in. All right. If we're going to fucking pass something, we don't know what the effects are going to be, and we see what the effects are, like, you know, a couple of decades down the line, we can repeal that shit and we can try to build something new up.
How did that work?
How did that work? Well, it's
repealing it and building something else. How did that work? It's been 30 years. How's that going?
Well, I think that it was only in the past like 5 years that we've really like connected the crime bill to the overwhelming amount of black people that are in jail right now. And in the past 5 years, we've seen a massive push from progressives in the Democratic Party to change the actual policies that we have in the for the DNC platform, right?
So what you're saying is only progressives.
Wait, hold on, I'm almost done. Hold on, I'm almost done. If you're going to tell me that our policies have, in the Democratic Party have not changed in the past 5, 6, 7 years, well, I don't know what to fucking tell you. That you haven't been paying attention.
Well, I don't. Again, when you talk about the Democratic Party, are you talking about elected Democratic Party officials? Or are you talking about Democratic voters?
Biden during the 2020 campaign said, looking back at the crime bill, we didn't know what the actual effects of it were going to be, but it's going to be one of my things that I'm going to do.
And in 2016, he said, "I 100% do not regret signing the fucking crime bill."
Okay.
What's your point? He literally
in the
said
platform. Biden and Clinton are very similar in the sense that they will go wherever the party is. They're not like fucking statesmen like fucking Bernie. Even Trump had this like quality about him where he set the policy, but Biden doesn't set that policy. Okay, the party.
So what
does.
You're saying is the DCCC does. So what you're saying is the DCCC does. Correct. And you're saying the DCCC.
Again, my argument,
policy,
all the policies. All of the policies or all the things that we've talked about up to this point, the only way to change what's going on in the DNC and the DCCC is to elect more progressive people, right? To get more AOCs and more Ilhan Omars into office.
And how's that been working for the last, 30 years?
I mean, 40 years? No, don't say 40 years. In the past, 5, 10 years. Because in the past 40 years, we didn't have a progressive movement. In the past 10 years, we have.
You didn't have a progressive movement in the 70s? You didn't have a progressive movement in the 90s? You didn't have progressives pushing back against Reaganomics and trickle-down in the 80s?
Hold on.
That's very limited
they were
view
not
of
progressive.
politics.
They were not progressive in the way that we have progressives right now. If we're talking about the modern progressive movement, those two movements are very, very different. And don't pretend like they're not.
I mean, see, now I was alive in the 70s, so, I have what they would call perspective.
I mean, I'm pretty well read, all right? I know what I'm talking about.
Okay, there's been a progressive movement in the Democratic Party since the 70s. It has had ebb and flows as the Democratic Party establishment has consistently turned around. Am I ever going to get a sentence out, dude?
Go for
Are you ever going to let me complete a sentence?
Sorry, I'm talking.
Come on.
Go for it, buddy.
I know. Well, you said you wanted to have a conversation about this. I'm trying to
have
a conversation
I'm
about
having fun,
this.
dude. I'm just chilling.
I know, so am I. I'm just saying, the Democratic Party has had a, quote, progressive wing since the 70s, pushing for the advancement of progressive policies.
Lord Fritzi's fucking upsetty spaghetti.
Never actually happened. Like repealing the school-to-prison pipeline, which has never happened. By repealing
that's not a policy.
Which has never happened.
Wait, hold on. You can't repeal the school-to-prison pipeline. That's not a policy. It's a concept.
You can repeal the three strikes crime bill.
Sure, that's an actual statement. Don't say repeal the fucking school to pipeline.
That's how the school to prison pipeline is fed, is through the three strikes policy and over policing redlined communities of color. That's literally how the school to prison pipeline is formed.
Yes,
those three things.
I agree with you. We agree on this.
And all three of those things were established by the Democratic Party and before you
at
go
the
there,
request because they were being voted for by the people in those communities.
I know, you said it. You still won't let me finish the sentence.
Okay, finish the sentence.
And even though all that happened in 1996, and since then, the Democrats have held majorities multiple times, the Democratic Party has done nothing to reverse those pieces of legislation.
Well, okay. So again, we're going to go right back to this. Okay. So number one, if you're going to agree with me that the people in those communities supported those bills, right? And we're now finding out that the effects from those bills, because all of these things are going to have lagging indicators, you're not going to know 1, 5, or maybe even sometimes 10 years later what the effects of that bill is going to be, especially one that's as wide sweeping as the fucking crime bill, right? It's always going to have a lagging indicator. When we find those things out, we'll like address it then, right? Now, if you're going to come at me and say, well, the progressives or the Democratic Party didn't get rid of this policy because of that. Well, yeah, we didn't know that that was the direct cause of this thing. So now they're going to have to reassess that. Also, we didn't have a progressive movement in the fucking 2000, like the aughts in the early 2010s. It wasn't until like what, 2014, 2016 when we started to see.
How the fuck do you think Obama got elected?
I mean, there's like a lot of different reasons. You think that was
old white people voting for the young black dude? Really?
I mean, there were some, but also he had a huge fucking like wave of support from young people that went out and voted, much more than went out and voted for Bernie for some fucking reason, because he had a better fucking message and was better at giving that message. That's not to say that I dislike Bernie. Bernie's fucking base as fuck, right? But it's all about like getting voter excitement and getting them out there. If we got more fucking young people to vote, instead of telling them don't fucking vote and maybe something will happen eventually, which is already the fucking case with young people, which is already the case with people in poor communities that have less access to fucking voting booths, okay? Then you're arguing for the status quo. The people that we need, yes, because the people that we have to get out to vote are young people, people from marginalized communities, poor communities. Those are the people that we have to get out to vote.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Can I ask you a question? Okay. When Obama had essentially a vast majority, if not super majority, and he could have literally done anything along with the Democratic Party, they could have repealed the crime bill, they could have literally fucking made abortion the law.
I'm going to stop you right here. I'll let you finish your point, but I'm going to stop you on the point.
You won't.
Yes, because you're bringing up the crime bill again, and we didn't know the effects of the crime bill yet. So stop bringing that one up.
Obama did in 2008. What the fuck are you talking about? The thing had been up for fucking 14 years. The prison was so chock full of fucking people of color who were plucked out of fucking poor neighborhoods.
It is my understanding
that like prisons were literally exploding at the fucking seams.
It is
by
my understanding.
Do you not remember?
Hold on.
No. Obama literally sent out Eric Holder, the quote black AG, to go out and investigate what some of the problems were, even though the prisons were already fucking packed slammed.
In what year?
Oh shit, he didn't send out Holder until after fucking after Freddie Gray got killed in Baltimore. How do I know? Because I was on the ground in Baltimore for 3 weeks.
You're so fucking right. What year did that happen?
Huh?
What year did that happen? 2014.
2014 was Tamir Rice. It was Freddie Gray. Yeah.
Fuck.
Point being, you're saying they didn't know the effects.
You're proving my point. You're proving my point.
Not.
When we started investigating it was in 2014. That's when we started recognizing the direct correlation, the direct causation.
No, that's wild.
You just made that argument to me.
No, I didn't. Dude, my point is it's ludicrous to say that they didn't notice over 15 years that the prisons became swole with young black people charged on fucking limited drug crimes and striking them.
We might be talking past each other. Let me just repeat your argument back to you. Let me just repeat what you've been saying back to you. And you can tell me if this is accurate or not. Okay. So I brought up the fact that in 2008, we didn't have the direct causation or correlation between the crime bill and the mass incarceration that was going on.
Right, I'm saying
hold on.
I'm saying it's false.
Right. And you say wait, please. I'm trying to like break bread with you right now. Okay. Chill for 1 second, all right? So you say that that's false, that we didn't know. And then you cite the fact that Obama sent out the black AG to go investigate this because of Freddie Gray, which happened in what year? 2014. So that would...
It was window dressing.
So that would be an argument, right, towards my claim that it wasn't until like the end of Obama's presidency that we started recognizing the direct correlation or near that time when we started getting the evidence proved.
Okay, you literally misstated my entire claim because Obama didn't send Holder. Obama did not send Holder out to find out why the prisons were full. Obama sent Holder out to go to police departments and find out why they keep killing unarmed black people.
Oh, so it was a completely
I'm never going to finish the sentence, guys. I'm never going to finish the sentence.
You keep on cutting me off too. Okay, let's not pretend like this is going one way. All right, here's the thing. You're bringing up a completely like tangential point, which I wouldn't necessarily disagree with outside of this conversation, because what we're talking about is the 94 crime bill. You're bringing up this about like cops killing black people, which that is this thing that does happen in the United States, but we're talking about the effects of the crime bill. So why did you bring that one up? This is a non sequitur.
I brought it up to prove the point that when Democrats get power, all they do is issue a bunch of fucking vague proclamations, form some committees, say they're going to investigate stuff. They're literally the police state. They're the police department who's like, hey, something's wrong. You know what we're going to do? We're going to investigate ourselves. And then 4 years later, we're going to find we did nothing wrong because, oh, by the way, Holder never prosecuted a single fucking city police department anywhere in the United States of America.
That's not fucking true. That is not true. They fucking, in Ferguson, they fucking indicted the fuck out of people. They fucking went after those people. They released an entire DOJ report on fucking Ferguson Police Department.
Yeah, because and did anybody go to jail?
I think that they broke up the police department and had to restructure it.
So what you're saying is the Democrats just allowed all the people who murder black people to reform in other places without actually offering any substantial change, just window dressing, because that's what they do. They offer lip service and token treatments to actual statements and problems.
Is reforming a police department that is using black people as a form of currency, as a revenue source, is forcing that police department to completely reform window dressing?
Yeah, because you're just shuffling around the same cops from department to department.
Literally,
the guy who killed Michael Brown got a job as a sheriff 34 miles away.
The guy that killed Michael Brown was exonerated.
Yeah, and he got a job 34 miles away because that's how the police take care of their problems. When they go, hey, we're going to reform the police department. They take everybody, they put them in a
forensic
bag,
evidence.
Like
hold on.
Like
no. Please, you got to stop. Oh my God.
You could have just let me finish the sentence.
No, because you're wrong. Because you're using the wrong example. Because Michael Brown actually did do something bad. He did attack the cop. There's forensic evidence that proves this beyond a shadow of a doubt. There's like,
oh my God.
Okay, well, if you disagree with me, then fucking show me the evidence that he like actually didn't do something. There's evidence that everything that hold on. There is evidence that everything that fucking Darren Wilson said was exactly what happened according to the forensic evidence that they tried to find to prove that he actually killed Michael Brown for no fucking reason. Okay, now you can bring up Freddie Gray. Okay, that is a better example of this, but don't use Michael Brown.
Brought up all of this to bring up the point that anytime Democrats get into power, all they do is pay lip service to problems that they're going to fix sometime down the road. And oh, by the way, before you say anything, Ansamika, thank you very much for sending me this U.S. Department of Justice study from 2008, which showed that the prisons were completely fucking swamped by black people on 3 strikes. Wow, this is an actual fucking DOJ study from 2008, NCJ number 221847, published in 2008. This is a very good, wow, this is actually a really good write-up. Wow, it's a 37-page paper. This is pretty good.
Okay.
Black men in this age group. 1 in 9 black men between the ages of 20 and 34 is now incarcerated. The DOJ stated that in a study in 2008. You know what Obama decided to do with his supermajority? He decided to force Americans to buy private insurance, or else they get their fucking taxes withheld or go to jail. That's what Obama did with the political will of the Democratic Party leadership in 2008, even though he already knew, quote, 1 in 9 black men between the ages of 20 and 34 is incarcerated.
You realize that this isn't like disproving my point.
No, you said, they didn't know till 2016.
No. Just like any kind just like any kind of like field, like sociology, you can't look at one study and extrapolate an entire fucking causality from that. All right, which is why there are more studies that were done on it, and they finally made the link like later on. All right, now
No, hold on. Here's the quote from the '08 study. Quote, legislators are learning that current growth in the prison population is not caused primarily by an increase in crime or an increase in the general population. Rather, it
Are
stems from a
starting
wave of
to
policy
learn.
choices that are sending more convicted offenders to prison through various sentencing enhancements that have increased the number of offenders sentenced to incarceration and for longer periods. Again, this is DOJ study number 221847 from the year 2008 for a study that was done between the years 2006 and 2007.
Okay.
So they knew it was fucked and they left it in
They
place
said this
because
one
they
thing.
didn't have
Yes.
political will to change it.
You're not okay. You're not listening to a goddamn thing that I say. Okay, I don't disagree that that's probably something that was studied, right? But again, you have to have a collection of evidence to have a consensus on something. One study doesn't prove anything. It can lead towards more studies that go into something, right?
But you
So
said they
whether-
didn't know. You said they had no idea. They didn't even start studying it until what? What'd you say? 2016, you said?
No, I didn't say this. There's okay. I'm going based off of things that you're saying. You're giving me evidence, right? I know for a fact that it was not. We have a lagging indicator for every single policy that we have. Do you agree with that?
Well,
Well, maybe not every single.
Much,
well, hold on. Maybe not every single one.
It depends if you're starting from zero or not. If you already have a database, it's different.
Wait. No. If you're
starting a database from scratch, there's lag. If you already have consistent reporting within a database, then you have limited lag, but that lag is scheduled.
Sure. I mean, I know we have different ways to like track things, and we've been tracking crime for a while. All right. But what I'm saying is like the kinds of things that you're going to see are going to take place over a long period of time, which is why like things like the infrastructure bill, we're not going to see the positive outcomes from that. Like the immediate positive outcomes from that are going to be like people get jobs, they go out and they build roads, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? And that's going to boost the economy a little bit. But the long-term, like really based, like awesome things aren't going to be seen for like 20 years. And that sucks, but that's kind of the way that policy works, especially large sweeping bills, right? It's the same thing for crime bills. It's the same thing for all these things, right? Which is why you have to like take studies over a like length of time, right? When the Democrats like came together, especially due to the push of progressives that were getting elected at the time, due to the progressive movement that was happening at the time, they started being more open about like admitting things that they did bad in the past so they can still retain voters, right? Which is why we see Biden disavowing the fucking 94 crime bill, which is why we see even Hillary Clinton disavowing the 94 crime bill, I think. But like
any of them gone out of their way to pass legislation to change it? Yes
so
or no?
I think
it's
that
yes
in the
or
first,
no.
I think
yes or
yes.
no.
Hold on. Yes, I think that in the first couple of days of Biden's presidency, he did a limit for federal prison. I don't remember exactly what it was off the top of my head, but there's also on the Democratic Party platform, you can read what their policies are to try and like move forward, right?
Right, and have they proposed any of those policies in the form of legislation?
I mean, yes.
Because if they haven't, then it's just all window dressing. It's all marketing.
Okay, we've passed a great many bills in the House. They haven't gone through the Senate because we have a 50-50 split with the VP as the tie-breaking vote. And we have to get a fucking super majority in order to get a bill passed without some sort of reconciliation thing, right?
So what you're saying is they lack the political will to remove the filibuster.
I'm so sorry. The political will?
Yes, political will. It's something the Democratic Party leadership is very little of.
The political will is there, but that would mean that Joe Manchin would flip over to the Republican caucus, and then we wouldn't have a majority in the Senate anymore, and we wouldn't bring anything to the floor. That's what his stated threat is.
Okay, so to confirm, the Democrats can only pass, quote, progressive legislation
if there are more progressives in office.
Overwhelming. Yes. Hold on. If they have an overwhelming majority, okay, let's just say Democrats.
No. Hold on.
Let's say Democrats.
No, I agree. Like I understand what you're saying.
You know where I'm
going. No. Because I know where you're going. Let me be ultra clear. We don't have to have an overwhelming majority of progressives in office. We have to have enough that the mainline Democrats have to shift their policies to closer towards the progressives in order to like remain politically relevant, right?
Wait. And when you say remain politically relevant, you mean to get people to vote for them, to support them with their votes, correct?
Yes.
Correct? Okay. And I'm saying if you tell politicians that you're going to withhold your vote until they put forth a policy platform that reflects the needs of the majority of the working class, somehow I'm being radical and unreasonable,
If
but
people
you're
don't
being
vote for
totally
hold on.
good.
If people don't vote for politicians that have those values, then there's no reason for the Democratic Party to ever shift.
Right. So you just repeated my talking point, which is there is no onus upon Democratic Party leadership to alter the machine or the way the machine operates because
we
people
elect
have
more
ineffective methods to
progressives.
remove them.
Unless we elect more progressives. But the problem...
How's that working out?
I mean, it's worked out pretty decently in the past couple of years, in the past couple of election cycles, seeing as like the squad got elected. And what year did the squad get elected? 2018.
What year was AOC?
I thought
2016.
I thought she got elected in 2018, but even 2016, right?
Okay, so what have you've gotten 4 people in 4 elections? You
need hold on. Are
200 and something.
Wait, hold on. There are way more people that are in the Progressive Caucus than 4 people.
How many are in the Progressive Caucus as of now? When was the Progressive Caucus started?
Let me Google.
I'll look. Quick. Hold on.
Yeah,
let's because I don't know, honestly.
I can think of like Ilhan Omar, AOC, Rashida Tlaib. Oh God, I can see the other girl's face in my head. I know that there's a black dude. I can't remember his name. There's like a
the
group
Progressive
of
Caucus, the Congressional Progressive Caucus was founded in 1991. 91 as the beginning of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. So 91, we're talking now exactly 30 years. In 30 years,
we're
how many people are in there now?
We've already been over this. I don't disagree. Hold on. We've been over this and we agree. Hold on. We agree, okay? We agree that there have been different progressive movements throughout the United States history, right? But that is a different progressive movement to the one that's going on right now, right? Like there are different goals, there are different like situations going on in the United States. Like this is a different progressive movement. When I say the progressive movement, I'm talking about people that are like the AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar. I can't remember the other 2 people that I can see their face in my head, but
I know who you're thinking of. You're thinking of Ayanna Pressley, who's absolutely not a progressive because she's a Democrat from Massachusetts. And if you know anything about Massachusetts, Massachusetts is a red state that solely votes blue because approximately 60% of their entire state's population gets their pay from a union, from a government union. And they know that if they vote Republican, they'll lose their union benefits. So they're all Republicans who vote Democrat because they just want to get theirs.
Hold on.
Just so you know. I live here, by the way. I live in
what kind of like, aren't you like pro working class? What the fuck is wrong with you?
I'm very pro working class.
So you would
I'm just letting you know, like ideologically speaking, like a lot of people, if they don't know, on the ground stuff, they would look and go, oh, look, it's Massachusetts. It's a quote blue state. And it's not. It's a very red state where people vote blue for themselves.
What would be the answer there to move those people to vote for more progressive? Right?
They're not going to vote progressive. They're 6th generation Irish and Italian cops.
Hold on. What would be the answer to try to get those people to vote progressive?
I'm telling you, you can't.
Okay, so if you can't get those people to vote progressive, then there are 2 options then, right? You can either try and get them to vote for a third party, which is further left than even the progressives in the Democratic Party, which seems like a fucking batshit thing to do, right? Or you tell them to not vote and then just let Republicans walk into office.
No, and again,
what is the option? What is the other option? I'm losing my mind. What is the other option? If you're going to tell me, hold on. You're going to tell me that they are not going to vote in. Hold on. You're going to tell me that they're not going to vote in a more progressive person, but you're also going to tell me that they like their government benefits. You can't convince them. You can't convince them to vote for someone that is more pro-union than an actual like mainline Democrat. Then what is the response?
Sorry, could you restate the question?
Sure. What is the response when you're going to tell me that these people are like blue Republicans? How are you going to get them to vote for a progressive? Like if you're telling me that you can't get them to vote for a progressive, then what are you going to do with that state?
Okay, so
withhold your vote so a Republican goes in because they're not going to vote for the Green Party. They're not going to vote.
So
Go for
See,
it.
you keep asking me questions, and then I say 3 words, and then you ask me another question that you just thought of. You have to let me finish one question
sure.
before you add
I
on the next
apologize. I
question that you
apologize.
unfortunately thought
Sure.
of 2 seconds later. That's not fair.
Sure. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm adding additional qualifiers onto things so that I can be more clear with my statement. Go ahead.
Right. But you're not letting me even answer the original statement before you add 6 more qualifiers on. It's literally what Democrats do to bills. Congratulations. You would make an amazing Democratic legislature, for the record.
Hey, I appreciate that.
Now, you said the entire crux of your thing is that I'm telling people to not vote. And you are literally trying to cast what I'm saying as something that I'm not. So I'm going to repeat myself one more time, since you keep trying to dilute it down to telling people to not vote, which is not what I'm saying. So I'm going to clarify this one more time so that you stop misrepresenting my point and arguing a straw man that I have no interest in arguing, okay? For the last time, I am saying that voters need to organize, much similar to the way they would in a union. They need to organize en masse, go to political leadership, and explain to them that their vote must be earned. Here is their list of demands. If you cannot meet that list of demands, then I will withhold my vote. I am not saying, don't vote, take my ball and go home. I'm mad. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I want people to A, organize, B, agitate, C, demand. Literally the same 3 things that's used in organizing labor, forming unions, and going on strikes to force capitalist shitbags to meet the demand of the working class. I am literally saying to copy the exact method that organized labor in the working class uses to make demands and have those demands met. I don't think anything that I am saying here is unreasonable.
Okay, so but the ultimate line that we have to that I understand your argument, right? But in order for that argument to hold any threat against the Democratic Party, you would have to hold to your guns that if they don't concede to every single demand, that you don't vote for them. So
yes, that's how demands work. It's an
yes,
if or.
So
that's
you are
in much the same way that a general strike works. Dude, people go up to Kellogg's and they're like, "Hey, we have all these demands and you haven't met any of them." And they're like, "Oh yeah, just get back to work, sweaty. Just work harder and things will change." And you go back to work and you work harder and then you go back to the boss and you go, "Hey, we're working harder, nothing's changed." And he's like, "But just work harder, sweaty. Just vote harder." And finally, the people say, "We're sick of asking. Now we are going to organize and demand. And if you don't meet our list of demands, well, then you're going to reap the whirlwind."
No, Black people and trans people are going to reap the whirlwind that happens. All right. Now, here's the thing.
You're retreating back to that point because you know I'm right.
I'm responding to your point directly. Okay. So yes, you make the list of demands, right? But I agree that is something that should be done every election cycle. All right. That's something that I think should be done every election cycle. In the primaries.
Do you vote for them?
In the primaries.
No, I think it should be done to them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year.
So you're going to tell me,
year.
yes. Okay. So again, okay. Fun fact. So when you say that you want it to be done to them every single day out of every single year, you're saying that the Democratic Party will not change and we should just withhold our votes. You're saying that we should not fucking vote and we should allow the Republicans to. Yes, you are taking.
I'm not saying that.
That is the end. That is the end result. That is the only possible.
It's not the end result.
It is the end result because
as
you can see. Hold on. In the past 20 years, I think the largest vote for third-party candidates came through in the 2016 elections that obviously did not fucking help very much. Now, did it?
No, it's because libertarians got 4% because they were the disaffected people who became so disaffected with the Democratic machine and decided that Hillary Clinton stole the election, the Democratic Party leadership let her, but they couldn't stomach voting for Trump. So they went out and they voted for Johnson and Weld as a protest vote, which is why the Libertarian Party got like 4% in Pennsylvania and Michigan, which is something that Ron Paul couldn't even do. And that guy's a goddamn libertarian god.
Yeah. and 4% wasn't enough to win the election. So what you're saying is
It was enough for fucking Democrats to lose.
There is no functional difference between withholding your vote and throwing your vote away to a third party candidate until we get rid of.
There's a huge difference.
First past the post and institute some form of ranked choice voting. Right?
You refuse to acknowledge the difference. You refuse to acknowledge the difference.
What's the difference?
So painful about this. It's not, okay, if you tell the Democratic Party leadership, this is the party platform we want, if you don't give it to us, if you don't make these substantive changes, we're going to withhold our vote.
The way that you do that is through the primary. Okay, I would agree. Hold on. No. I just want to tell you that I agree. I agree with you. I'm letting you know.
I'm done.
You're so mad, but I'm agreeing with you. I'm telling you that there's a time and a place. No, because you're saying the same thing over and over and over and over.
No,
I understand. But because there's a time and a place for this.
You won't let me.
Okay, tell me what the place is. Tell me what the place is. And if it's the same thing, then I'm going to interrupt you.
Well, I never get there because you keep interrupting me, as you just acknowledged.
Say it.
You just acknowledged that you keep interrupting me.
Because we've just said the same thing over and over.
Interrupting me so I can get to the end.
Sure, go.
All I'm asking, if you organize voters, you go to the party leadership, you say this or else, and the Democratic Party leadership chooses or else, it's not you withholding your vote electing the Nazi. It's the party deciding to ignore the will of the people. And that falls on the Democratic Party leadership and not the individual voters that you're trying to vote shame. That's the difference. And you're unwilling to concede that.
Okay. Because I recognize, because I have the Giga Chad brain. It's expanding out. I had to drill a hole in my head because my brain expanded so much when I got off of the Bernie or bust train. All right. Now, I recognize that there is a time and a place for giving those listed demands to the Democratic Party. You know when that is? That's during the primaries, right? If you don't win during the primaries, what do? Well, you do whatever is going to hurt the people the least. All right. You repeated the exact same sentence. All right. I understand your point. I fully do. I understand. You have to make demands. You have to make demands of the Democratic Party. This is your point. You have to make demands of the Democratic Party that they have to make at a fundamental level inside of the Democratic Party in order for people to trust that they're going to actually do something going forward. Right. And if they don't do that, then they're not going to earn our votes. Is that accurate? Okay,
that's the first part. First part, yes.
Yes, and I'm saying
now go to the second part.
Well, hold on. I'm just going to say that I agree with that, but during the primaries, right? The primaries are a perfect time to do that. You get the person that is like a fucking based ass fucking Democratic Socialist or SOC Dem. You get them into office or you get them onto the ballot and then you advocate for them super hard. And you know what happens? And you can see this happened with Biden. Right? During the 2020 elections, right? Bernie was really popular. They were the two contenders by the time we got to Super Tuesday, right? Now a lot of people dropped out. Biden won Super Tuesday, but Biden met with the fucking progressive people in Congress. He met with Bernie, and they tried to hammer out some sort of platform that would be amenable to both progressives and to mainstream Democrats. All right. That's the kind of thing that you can call that a victory. It's not a perfect victory. It's a Pyrrhic victory because, it kind of sucks that we don't have the actual progressive in office, but we did move their policies to the left. Right. That is a electoral victory.
The Democratic Party has done nothing to move the country to the left. Nothing.
No. I
nothing.
said, no, hold on. Not the whole country. All right. I agree. The country is not, there's very few socialists in the country. Okay. We've moved the Democratic Party platform to the left. This is irrefutable.
Okay, so what? Oh God, I'm regretting this already, even though I haven't said it. But how is the Democratic Party moved to the left? Not in their rhetoric, but in their actions. Because I don't care about rhetoric. If you're going to fall for rhetoric, then you're just a rube. So we're not talking about rhetoric.
Well,
we're talking about policy, what they've actually done.
Okay, I agree. Well, we can look at all the things that right now the Democratic Party in the House has passed. We're bogged up in the Senate, which is why I really, really hate rhetoric like the rhetoric you're using right now. We're
So they
bogged up
passed
in
nothing.
they pass a lot in the House because of the Democratic, like the progressives have like helped form some of these amazing fucking bills. The fucking
Mhm.
reconciliation bill was fucking
Mm.
based. The fucking child
Yeah.
tax credit was fucking based. Okay.
Mm.
The fucking
Yeah.
infrastructure
Didn't
bill.
Biden come out against the expanding the child tax credit? The correct answer would be yes, by the way, in case you're wondering.
I believe that the person that came out against the child tax credit was fucking Joe Manchin.
Well, I know Manchin's against everything, even though
Yeah,
the
fuck that
Democratic
dude.
Party, even though the Democratic Party rewards him by making him the chair of the Senate Energy Committee and also giving him a seat on the Veteran Affairs Committee and the
I
Military
listen.
Committee.
I don't know what I understand the kinds of things that they're trying to do. They're trying to like get Manchin to play ball. Like having him on committees is one way to do that so that he has a say in things, so he feels more in like in lockstep with the Democratic Party. At this point, I'm fine with saying fuck Joe Manchin. Like this guy's not going to fucking do anything for us. I held out hope until like I want to say uh, I held out a little bit of hope until he trashed the fucking infrastructure bill in the Senate. Um, but
So did
that
the Democratic Party censure him by taking him off committees like the Republicans do when their people get out of line? Has the Democratic Party sanctioned Manchin at all? Have they pulled any
the
of their
Republicans
support for
can
his
afford to.
reelection
Okay, sure,
campaign?
sure.
Have
I
they?
agree. I agree. Those are things that you could do. But I also think that the problem that we have with Manchin is that we have that 50-50 split, and we can't bring anything to the Senate floor if if he switches over to the Republican, right? If he
What
were
are you getting over to the floor now when he's not a Republican?
literally anything that we pass in the House, we can bring up on the Senate floor. We've passed things
And what?
in the Senate with a 50-50 split. We've had to like cut shit down because of Manchin, but we wouldn't even be able to bring those things to the floor if he wasn't caucusing with the Democrats. It's a really fucked situation. I agree. And I don't like fucking Manchin, and I'm not going to sit here and defend him, but that's like the reality that the Democrats have to like strategize around right now, you know?
Listen. I'm not like I'm acknowledging the reality of what you're saying. I'm just saying that we got here through a completely different path, and that if you want to tell Democrats, they have to change or else, and then their candidate wins a primary, then you go, oh, okay, we're going to vote for you. Then again, you're not applying pressure. You're literally like you're the one you're like advocating like forming a union and then going to the boss and saying, here's our
Because I don't
demands.
think that they're
But if you don't make them, we're still going to be here at work
listen,
at
I
9
don't
a.m. working
yeah,
for the same shitty pay.
I don't think that you can. I understand the concept, right? I don't think that these are one-to-one comparisons, right?
I
Because
do.
because you can grind the union, or I'm sorry, you can grind a business down to a halt by not working at that business. You're not going to grind down the Democratic Party unless you're going to like get them down to like where there's a fucking, there's 400 Republicans in the House.
Really?
I
Really?
don't.
Are you familiar? Are you familiar with the garbage strike in New York City in the 1970s, and then again in the 1980s, or the police strike in the late
Hold on.
1990s?
These
You
are like
familiar with any of
your
those?
direct. Okay, these aren't
Are you
votes.
familiar with the
They're
teacher
not
strike in
votes.
Chicago 2
Hold on.
years
No, no,
ago?
no, no, no. What I'm saying is a labor strike is not the same as votes.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
It's exactly the same. Hey, Democrats, not only are we not going to vote for you, literally starting from this day forward, we're not going to put any of your fucking stupid posters on our lawns. We're not going to buy any of your bumper stickers. We are literally going to withdraw from the Democratic Party and all of their fucking election shit unless you meet our
Okay, so
demands,
what
unless you
happens?
sit
Yeah.
down and negotiate.
Okay,
It's
what
very
happens?
simple.
Okay, let me ask
Your
you this.
only
No,
power,
let me ask
the
you that.
only leverage you have is your vote. It's the only
Yes,
leverage you have, and you're willing to give it away. You're
I'm
just
not
going to
willing to
give
give
away
it
the
away.
nookie
That's why
day
I say
one.
the fight is in the primaries, in my opinion. All right. No, not in my
No,
opinion.
it's not.
That's true. Okay, the part that I want to ask you this. Okay, let's say that the Democrats we stop we don't get any progress in the in the progressives like getting elected during the primaries, right? And we withhold these votes. How long would you go on with this?
Every single day through every single election
Okay,
cycle
let's make
until
it.
the
Let's say
Democratic
that
Party
you're.
leadership
Let's say, yeah.
concedes and
Let's say,
adopts
hold
a
on, hold on,
fucking
hold on, hold on.
populist policy
I'm
platform.
almost
You
done.
asked,
I'm
I
almost.
answered.
No. I'm almost done with the hypothetical. You're very popular. You're telling everyone this. Everyone's listening to you, right? And they're making demands of the Democratic Party, right? Let's say that we make these demands, and
Mhm.
not only do Republicans gain a massive share of the House and the Senate, but we also don't see like we adopt every platform that you want. What if we still don't get Democrats elected?
Well, you'll get them elected once you stop withholding your vote
Well, hold
because you're
on.
a Democratic voter. That's literally the way
What if
voting
people don't?
works.
What if people don't agree with you?
Well, that's the whole idea between forming a populist party is that people will negotiate and come up with a list that's manageable. You yourself,
That's what they're trying to
who
do
are
right now with
advocating for right.
electoralism.
Right. But you're trying to advocate for doing it after the fact. I'm trying to advocate doing it proactively because
No,
I
no, no.
understand that in the transactional nature of
Hold
an
on. You're
electoral
doing it
system,
afterwards.
the only capital you possess is your one
Hold on.
single
You're doing
vote,
it
and you
afterwards
would just
because
want to
again,
give it
the
away.
fight. Hold on. Again, the fight. All right, is not in the general election. It is in the primaries. I would agree with everything that you're saying right now if it was the primaries, right? 1,000,000%. Everything that you're saying is based as fuck if it was the primaries. When it gets to the
Right, but then
general
you want to
election,
get to the general and go, okay, well, you're the Democrats, so now we're going to vote for you. In other words, your demands carried zero power because you were not willing to follow
because you
through.
don't have enough support. Not enough people agree with you, James. Not enough people
Well, then
agree with you.
cool. Well, if that many people don't agree with me, then the populist platform that would be, basically brought up by people would look more like a compromise between all the people who are threatening to withhold their vote. This is fucking how people organize. Again, it's the same axiom holds true. It doesn't matter if it's labor or through any fucking empire in the last 5,000 years of humanity. When people agitate, organize, and demand, that's when the needle moves. Anything short of those three things is fucking wanking it.
Okay. Do you understand? Okay, let me ask you this. Do you understand why I'm saying that I agree with everything that you're saying up like during the primaries? Do you understand why I say that?
I get that. I understand what you're saying. I totally understand what you're saying. I'm not like, I get that you agree with me up to that point, but then you're going, but okay, now the centrist Democrat won,
I am
and it's
not
them
willing.
versus the
Okay,
Republican.
this is the difference between you and me. All right. At the end of the day, this is the difference between you and me. I am not willing to allow the kind of damage that Republicans will do to this country, to marginalized communities, to our economy, to world peace, to fucking international relations. I'm not willing to take that damage because I didn't get the exact politician that I wanted, all right? Or the exact policies that I wanted, all right? I am not willing to do that because I'm not going to be the one that gets affected in that way, all right?
Right. So your vote blue no matter who. Got it.
I am in the general,
Got it.
yes, because the
Your
only
vote blue
other
no matter who.
right, because there aren't enough fucking progressives in this country. Not enough people agree with you to elect Democrats into. They would start voting either fucking third party libertarian or fucking Republican.
So then what you're saying is that when people meet and organize and then they move on to agitating and then they bring forth their list of demands, that list of demands might not be a socialist paradise. It's almost as if what you're saying is that for people to organize and come together, they have to compromise between themselves first to then come with a unified platform to present that to those who wield the power in the system and the structure, and then present that list of demands, which is already a compromised list of demands by all the people who hold votes. I'm totally fine with that.
The problem,
That's what happens in labor negotiations.
no. You were so base until you said that last bit because the list of demands is is the person that you're sending to the House of Representatives, okay? That is your representative, okay? You elect someone that agrees with you as closely as possible to go up against a Democratic person in the fucking primaries. And if that person loses, right, generally speaking, in order to gain back all the voters that they don't have from the fucking Progressive Caucus, they're going to change their policy. This is what we have seen happen every single fucking election cycle over the past like 10 years. Moving the party left. This is undeniable. Do you disagree that the Democratic Party, because of the progressive movement in the United States, has moved left?
Are you talking? Okay, when you say
No.
again, now
Yes,
I have to clarify.
Sure.
When you say Democratic Party, are you saying A, Democratic voters, B, elected Democratic
platform.
legislators, or C, Democratic Party leadership?
The platform, the policies that they are writing into law.
Okay, so you're saying B, you're saying legislators. You're saying it's undefinable that the legislating body that makes up the Democratic Party has moved to the left in their policies and what they propose and what they pass.
Definable. It's very definable. Correct? Yes, you can look this up right now.
Okay, I disagree. I just wanted to confirm that that's what you were saying before I disagreed with you.
Can you open up Google for me right now?
You'd be surprised how many windows I have open on my 3 computers.
Okay, so open up Google, and I want you to look up the Democratic. Here, I'll do it with you. Okay.
Hold on, wait a minute. To my chat, Dr. Ray, if you guys never popped it, you hit 2 and got the warning. Sorry, I had to.
You're fine.
Chat's getting a little discomforted. We're almost at 2 hours on this, so.
Oh, haven't we been talking for 2 hours?
I'm trying to keep the people. I'm trying to get them to not fucking organize and agitate and overthrow me.
I just want to say something to your chat. Lady Rain earlier said that I really love the sound of my own voice. It's kind of fucking true. I love the sound of my own voice, and I really didn't like the sound of her voice when she kept on, coming after me and getting me banned off of
what does this have
site.
To do with the conversation you and I are having?
No, it's nothing to do with you. I just want to be a little bit of a bitch.
So you're just throwing stuff out there to
I just want to be a
the
bitch.
Conversation we're having.
Oh no, I just want to be mean to her. All right, Democratic Party.
All right, let's get close to this because in all seriousness, I do have to get up and move around.
No, I understand.
Yeah. I have an exploded disc in my back and a compressed nerve, so I got to move around every hour.
Yeah. Let's just do this, and then if we really want to, we can absolutely.
We can always come back to this another time. Yeah, I'm not. Neither of us are going anywhere.
All right.
Literally.
Every 4 years, Democrats from across the country join together to craft our party's platform. Let's see here. Do they have just like policies? Oh man, they have like a preamble and shit. So these are the basic things here, okay? So we have protecting Americans and recovering from COVID-19 pandemic, building a stronger, fairer economy, achieving universal, affordable, quality healthcare. Look at that. Universal healthcare is on the Democratic platform.
That's their list of marketing. Yes, I know. That's their marketing. I got it. I know what marketing is.
Okay,
yes,
so let's go
That's what their marketing is, their platform.
Okay. Securing universal healthcare through a public option.
Marketing. What else are they marketing? Go ahead, hit me with all their marketing slogans.
Okay, so there's
stickers.
what would it take to change your mind?
What would it take to change my mind?
Because the marketing. Hold on, really quick, just to clarify, right? The marketing now, if you're going to say that this is just marketing, the marketing now is changed, right? From the marketing, we now know that the marketing is changed. All right. In your mind, right?
Fascinating.
This is what they are telling people that they want to pass. This is what is expected of them from the average Democratic voter.
Right. That's their marketing. Please note that platform wasn't written by people or voters.
So
that platform was written by all of their assistants.
It's always going to be written by assistants. Do you think that fucking Nancy Pelosi sits down on the Democrats.org and like drafts every single fucking thing? No, I understand what your point is. It's just a stupid point. All right. The last thing that
Sure. It's a stupid point that Democratic voters should be the people who determine what the Democratic Party platform is.
Okay, that's not what you said. Than me? That's not what you said. Okay. What I'm saying is that it sounded to me like you were saying that, is this a Democratic fucking, the Democratic Party writing these things? Well, yes, it's the Democratic Party and their assistants, the assistants being people that like work within the party, people that work on the ground and know how to use fucking computers. That's who writes shit on their fucking computers or on their website, right? You agree with that? That they have volunteers and shit and people that are paid?
No, that's not how the Democratic Party policy is written and then placed up on a website. No, that's literally not how that happens.
How does it get onto the website?
the Democratic, well, somebody types it up after the Democratic Party meets, and the Democratic Party, and by this I'm speaking of the legislators,
How do they decide these
determine
things?
what
Yeah.
their 18 marketing slogans are going to be for this election.
Okay,
and then
where do they
give
get
it to
the
a peon, and the peon types it.
where do they get the information where they decide what their marketing is going to be? Perhaps polling
Because
data?
they find out what people are complaining about the most on Twitter and say, tell them we'll do that.
Okay, so
Literally how marketing is done. You look at the
so you're telling me
market,
that they don't have
see what's popular.
You're telling me that they don't have polling data for what people are willing to vote for?
They have some polling data, but most of that is very difficult because your sampling size is usually about 1,000 to 1,200 people. It's usually about 40%
Okay,
landlines,
so
and it's usually geographically specific. So
we're
you
going
really
to-
can't say nationally.
We're going to
'cause-
have to take this to it because I can't deal with conspiracy. All right, if you're going to tell me that
Oh,
they
it's not
don't
conspiracy. I've worked on 3 election campaigns.
This is like basic corporate dim shit for them to look at polling data in different districts and in different in different districts and then in states and then at the national level, look at those polls and then craft their policy based or their platform off of that. If you're going to tell me that they like do that just for marketing reasons and they have no interest in actually like putting
That's
anything
exactly
out there,
what I'm saying.
then,
Yes.
then it's conspiracy and we're going to have a different conversation another time.
That's not conspiracy.
It's,
That's
it's the definition of conspiracy.
No, how is that conspiratorial? This is literally politics.
A conspiracy is when people conspire together to do something that is like underhanded or illegal or in some way insidious.
It's not insidious at all. It's politics. It's what people do. Do
It's
you think Nancy
underhanded,
Pelosi?
underhanded or like illegal or any of those things?
It's not underhanded or illegal. It's politics. It's literally the system as politicians built it to be this way. Who do you think constructed this shit? People? No, politicians. The same 600 people who get to vote and change the very systems and methodology.
Do you think politicians aren't people also?
I'm sorry?
Politicians aren't people also? You think that do you think that when they get elected they immediately just like shut off their fucking ears to literally everything that anyone underneath them says? They don't have fucking teams of people that look at polling data and say this is what people want.
I'm sure they look at polling data. My issue with you was you making it sound like there's a shit ton of polling out there when the Democratic Party spends very little money on polling, and when they do, it's targeted polling of 1,200 people.
The polling
in a geographical
comes from
area.
like Rasmussen and fucking Gallup and shit.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, they're going to look at external polling data, but external polling data is irrelevant to Democratic voting data because at the end of the day, Democratic politicians don't care what the populace wants. They only care what Democratic voters
why have they changed their policies at all? Why have they changed their rhetoric? Why have they changed their policies that they're pushing for?
Because it's marketing. It's kind of like saying, why did Budweiser stop going with the talking frog and start going with the hot cheerleader?
So it's conspiracy.
Because they figured out there's more.
So they're doing conspiracy. They have a set number of policies that they've been pushing forever, and they're not going to deviate from those things. But they're willing to like lie to everyone about what they actually want. Not even looking at the things that they have actually passed in the House and in the Senate to a certain degree, but the things that they have passed in the House and the fucking
nice asterisk.
Well, because of Joe Manchin, we've already agreed on everything about Joe Manchin, right? Are you going to argue with me on that again?
No, I'm just saying.
Okay, yeah. So you agree with me that the policies that we've passed in the House have been ultra fucking progressive, all things considered.
Not at all.
The Build Back Better plan wasn't progressive.
Oh, so the Build Back Better plan got onto the floor?
Yes,
really?
And it passed.
And what was the Senate vote?
Are we talking about the House or are we talking about the Senate?
Oh, so you're just talking about the House. Oh, so what you're saying is
because the exact same argument also applies to the Senate. If we have more people that are progressives that get elected to the fucking Senate, then guess what happens, motherfucker? We can pass the things that pass from the House. That's the only way to affect the change.
So hold on. So if I say the Democratic Party knows that they hold the House by 20 some odd votes and they don't have the Senate, ergo, it's very easy for lots of them individually to write up some sort of legislation that would get passed in the House that would make them seem progressive, even though they know it's not going to get picked up or run in the Senate. If I said that to you, would that be A, politics, B, optics, or C, a conspiracy?
It could be a combination of politics. It could be a combination of politics and optics and also the policies that they're trying to pass. Why are those things mutually exclusive?
Why are they mutually exclusive? Because you only vote on one thing at a time, although granted you get to put addendums in after an initial vote.
Omnibus bills are pretty wide-reaching.
Oh no! Listen, you and I, like I said, it's not like you and I are very far apart on this. I think the big difference here is that once you get past the primary, you're on Vote Blue no matter who, and once we get past the primary, I'm on.
You're willing to let black people die.
Now I have even more power, and my vote counts even more.
I'm being shitty, but like, here's the thing. Like again, you're like fundamentally at the end of the day, you are arguing for an accelerationist type of thing. Right?
I'm not at all.
It is by definition accelerationism.
No, it's not. I'm not accelerating shit.
Okay.
I'm advocating for voters to organize and demand, which is exactly what the working class needs to do, literally in every phase of life, because the entire system is built around using them as human capital stock and exacting as much profit from them.
So again,
as possible,
this is the conspiracy shit. This is the conspiracy shit. I don't think that the world works like this. People don't go like get a hold on. I just let you talk. I just let you go. I just let you go. I'm gonna finish. Okay. So like, I don't think that's how the fucking world works. I don't think that as soon as you get elected, you turn to some sort of fucking reptile person and immediately start looking at people as fucking human capital. That is some of the grossest fucking shit in the entire world. And I agree, there are probably some people that do look at it that way, but I don't think that's the overwhelming majority of fucking even politicians in the House of Representatives. Maybe a lot more in the fucking Senate because they're fucking a step above the fucking House. But like, I really don't think that that's the fucking way that the fucking world works. All right.
Really? Have you not met capitalism? Have you not been introduced? Have you all not met?
I'm sorry. Is AOC one of the lizard people yet or no?
Is she a lizard person?
That's what
I don't.
That's what you're basically implying. So. Yeah.
No, I'm not. You're trying to straw man my argument to make me seem unreasonable, even though I've been essentially carrying you from pillar to post all over the ring for the last hour while we're trying to have a conversation.
I mean, that's a really good cope position to have when you like literally have no answer for any of the fucking things that I've brought up. Like the fact that what happens,
gave you the answer. You just don't like my answer.
When I asked what you would tell people, what you would tell people after they get fucked because you're telling all these people not to vote. Right? You just read a quote from Joe Biden. You don't have an answer for that. You just have a smarmy fucking response.
I'm sorry. A quote from Hillary Clinton. Don't, you know.
That sounds like the exact same quote from Joe Biden, but okay.
Gee, what you're saying is it's almost like all the third-way Democrats sound the same because
it's almost like everybody's
priorities.
It's almost like, yeah, politicians of a certain time and of a certain political bent are going to have very, very similar rhetoric because that's what the party wants.
Obama's like 40 years younger than Bill Clinton, but sure, just politicians of a certain age and a certain time. Yeah.
Wait. When I say age, I mean like era, not like the fact that they're 40 years old.
Right. Like Clinton came up during the 70s and Obama came up during the 2000s. But sure, those two are two different eras.
They're going to have different rhetoric. They're going to have different rhetoric. Yeah. Do you disagree? Okay. We gotta finish because like you're saying crazy shit to me. I'm actually getting cancer. Okay. I love you. All right. Catch you later, buddy.
We'll talk again. Peace.
Jesus fucking Christ, dog. Holy fucking shit. Holy fucking shit, dude. I'm losing my fucking mind. That was long. I'm not fucking crazy there, right? I feel like he kept on saying things that supported my argument over and over and over and over and over and over. And then he fucking, and then he would say that it's not my point. And then he would like add an additional qualifier. No, we mutually hung up. He absolutely was giving arguments that supported my claim and then was going like far, far left with it, right? I don't know how to fucking communicate with people. I don't know how to communicate with people when like the end of the conversation just turns into fucking conspiracies. Like it literally doesn't even make sense how we can like go from, hey, we should try to withhold our vote so we can push their policies to the left, right? But then like, if you use his logic, they're just lying to get your votes, right? They're just lying to get your votes. In which case, if they're all liars and they're not actually going to like move if their platform is this, all they're doing is giving you lip service. So you should never vote ever. He has a shaky stance, but you came off a little hot and jumped the gun in a few places. Like where? When it came to the specifics of withholding your vote, you jumped ahead too soon on there. I don't understand how. How do you mean I jumped ahead on that point? Well, if they don't lie, you don't withhold your vote. You can't, wait, you know you can't retroactively withhold a vote, right? You vote for someone and then, I know. I tried not to, I almost brought up forced to vote because he was alluding to that at one point, but I decided not to. The lizard people stuff was too much. Fuck off. I was like, at that point, that's kind of what the implication is that there's some sort of fucking secret cabal of Democrats that are running the entire fucking show, you know? What's the conspiracy that politicians? Yeah, well, it seems like that was a conspiracy to him, that they just used that shit to fucking lie to people, and they haven't changed their policies at all over the past like fucking 20 years. Okay, again, let me be ultra clear. I'm sure he doesn't believe in a secret cabal. What his arguments lead to is the idea of the secret cabal of Democrats that are running everything behind the scenes, and there's no way to unseat them. I almost said, am I talking to a Republican at one point in that conversation, Killer C? Yes. Right, R2 Magnum. I understand his point. He meant democratic leadership, but at the end of the day, the only way to unseat democratic leadership is to vote more progressives or people that agree with you into those positions. That's how democratic leadership works, okay? The party votes on the leadership of the party. So if you want to change the leadership of the party, you have to elect people that agree with you so that they'll elect people that more align with your values. You think James is a Republican? No, I don't think he's a Republican. Holy fuck, listen to the words that I say, Nixon Plumber. I'm not saying that he's a Republican. I'm saying that he had a lot of rhetoric that was like reminiscent of some of the things I've heard Republicans say many times. So, no, ping test. I agree with him on all this is a conversation on strategy. And then he did all this fucking crazy shit. This fucking crazy shit when he was trying to bring in the fucking 94 crime bill and Michael Brown and shit into it, okay? I agree with him on the strategy up to the primaries, right? But after that, it's a bad strategy. No, I didn't say up to the general. I'm saying that the strategy is good in the primaries. In the general, you vote for the people that are going to do the least amount of harm. If we all agree that harm is a bad thing, oh yeah, you stop at the general, yes. But like, if we all agree that harm is bad, which should be a fairly easy thing to say, right? Harm is bad, less harm is good. Voting in a blue fucking voting blue, no matter who, in the general is always going to be a better option than voting for a Republican that believes CRT is going to brainwash our children into doing hate crimes on white people. Is there a primer? I'm sure that me and him agree on the baseline of what the harmful things are, right? So I would say austerity measures are harm. Anti-trans bills are harm. Repealing or like trying to overturn the like Roe v. Wade is harm. Trying to overturn I forget the name of the court case. Obergefell is overturning that would be harm, right? We agree on what the harm is. But in my world, I'm never willing to move on those things because the harm is too great. I posted White House links only, not garbage. I'm tempted to leave. I like both you and James, but list Joe Biden's policies, not labels. Sure. Yeah, no, I know the White House link is, that's something that I've gone through and talked to people about before. Yeah, I don't disagree. Yeah, I'll probably post this on YouTube. I need to post a lot of stuff on YouTube. By the way, everybody, follow the YouTube. We finally got to 700 fucking subscribers. If you guys have any questions about my stance on this, or if you think that what I said was wrong, you're more than welcome to fucking tell me, either in chat or you can come on voice. But I don't think like this Bernie or bust mentality is ever going to get us anything of fucking value. All right. What you have to do is you have to fucking vote for people that are going to do the best things, the things most aligned with you first, right? If that person doesn't make it past the primaries, then you have to fucking vote for the least harmful person.